there is a creature alive today who has survived millions of years of evolution without change, without passion, and without logic. It lives to kill. A mindless eating machine. It will attack and devour anything. It is as if God created the devil and gave him jaws.
Anyways, guys, my name is Katie Hettenbach, and welcome to another episode of Katie Afraidy on the Fangoria Network. Shit's about to get spooky.
Yes. Oh my God. I love that. Did you get that at Spirit Halloween or Party City before it died?
Yes. But it's also, it looks like you just, it looks like
I just farted Barbie.
Yeah,
I love that.
Barbie farts.
Yeah, I Barbie farted.
Hi, I'm Barbie.
Yeah, that's me. Somebody told me that yesterday. They were like, if I had your hair, it would be like Barbie hair. And I was like, so are you saying I have Barbie hair? Or are you saying if you had my hair, you would have Barbie hair?
Wait.
I let it go. I had to let it go. I was like, this is too complicated.
I have like more follow-ups for that. Like, are you gonna like cut it like Barbie hair where you just don't care? Are you gonna like whip it around? You know, what do you?
No, I think it was she was alluding to like the thickness and the color. And
she was like,
if I had your hair, it would be Barbie hair. I'm like, but I have my hair. Is it Barbie hair? If I have it, she was a redhead, so I don't know.
She was confused.
Yeah, it's spawn of Satan.
Yeah, you're like, you don't have a
say.
soul.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that we're properly in the smoke, why did you? Actually, well, let me go back. Why? For why?
Why what?
Exactly.
Okay.
Are you a fan of horror movies? And what was the first thing to scare you?
Do you want me to be honest about whether or not I'm a fan of horror movies, or do you want me to give you?
No, I honestly.
You want me to give you the okay? It's very interesting because I keep dating people who love horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not a huge horror fan.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously I've been wanting to do your podcast forever, but I'm not somebody that has seen all the movies that like you've seen or whatever. But then at the same time, I love Halloween.
Yeah.
And I love like, I haven't been, but like Universal Horror Nights, I keep trying to find people to go and I can't find people to go or whatever. And then it gets so expensive. So I don't love horror movies. I like very specific horror movies, which is why I'm here today, I think. But the first horror movie that scared me, was that the next question?
Yeah, horror or just like movie in general, like when you were a kid. Like everyone has that movie that like terrified them, whether it was something that was horror or not.
Yeah, Fox and the Hound is a pretty scary movie.
Honestly,
Bambi's pretty scary.
Bambi's
a horror movie for sure.
Yeah, the mom gets shot.
Yeah.
That's scary.
So those movies, like cartoon-wise, scared me as a kid. I'm trying to think like what else actually scared me. What's the one is it called like A Haunting in Connecticut or something like that? Is that the one where the bodies fall out of the wall? Do you know that movie where like they open up the walls and then like all these bodies fall out?
I don't remember that, but I'm gonna say
it was one
sure.
of those. It was like A Haunting in Connecticut or something like that, and I was like, this is a horrifying movie.
Yeah.
I wasn't a kid necessarily, but it was really scary.
And it like stuck with you. Though.
Yeah.
Like for me, Jurassic Park.
See, it doesn't scare me.
I wasn't scared during the movie, but like after the fact, I still think, and again, I know they're dead. I understand they're dead. I very much understand they're dead. I still think there's a velociraptor like behind a curtain every time. Just like ever so slightly, I'm like, what if this is the time?
But the key is that you know that dinosaurs existed, and there are people in the world that don't. Like Mormons.
Yeah.
so at least you were scared enough because you knew they were once real.
Yeah, totally,
you know?
totally.
It's not like Jack the Ripper was real. You know?
Yeah. Well, no, he was.
Oh, he was was he a serial killer?
Yeah, Jack the Ripper was real. Yeah,
I got the wrong monster. Like Frankenstein wasn't real.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that.
They figured out who Jack the Ripper was recently, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I like serial killers. I like everything that's like horror adjacent.
Yeah.
But then
I like actual murder. I prefer real. So wait, now let me ask you this. Who do you have a favorite serial killer?
Oh. The Night Stalker was pretty great.
Yeah, why? What? Tell us.
No,
Tell
I
us
just
why.
I think all the LA serial killers are my favorite.
Okay.
All of them. I don't even remember all their names because my brain doesn't work.
There's also so many.
There's so many,
There's so many.
and I think like to be able to get away with many, many murders in a city like LA
Yeah.
is crazy. And I also think it's interesting that, like, so many murders and serial killers flee to Oregon, which is where I'm from, and they all hide out in the woods up there. And so, you know, like the murder to Oregonian pipeline is fascinating to me. Because I'm from Oregon,
Yeah.
but I'm not a murderer. It's like the opposite of
Yeah.
that. Like born there, never wanting to kill anybody.
Yeah, but now you're like, I'm getting the urge to kill.
Yeah.
Time to go back to Oregon.
Yeah.
You know?
Isn't that?
That's so fascinating. That's so fascinating.
There are things in real life that scare me more than horror movies. I
That's
think.
fair. There's a lot.
World
There's
War III seems pretty
yeah,
scary.
you know what's happening now politically, but we don't need to get into that. You know, it's just honestly, I go to horror movies to escape because honestly,
Interesting.
in a way, you watch these horror movies and you go, my life isn't that bad.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't get murdered.
Yeah,
so-
you're not getting eaten by,
Yikes.
you know, a zombie or whatever.
Takes
yeah.
a lot for you to feel something.
Yeah, I'm numb inside. I need, yeah, that's, yeah.
We would like to give a huge thanks to a few of our sponsors. Filmcraft Studio Gear, where you can get any gear you're looking for all production needs. Go to filmcraftla.com, or you can find them at filmcraftla on Instagram. And of course, a big shout out to Fangoria. Want a copy of a Fangoria magazine? Use code Katie Afraidy 25 for 25% off. Katie Afraidy 25 for 25% off.
My biggest beef with horror movies, I think, is there's so many that are so bad. Yeah. And I think for me, like if I'm going to sit down and spend my time watching something, that I want it to at least seem like they put effort into making it good instead of being like lazy about it. And so I think bad horror movies feel lazy to me, even though I'm sure they're not.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
it takes so much to make a movie.
So much effort into
Yeah.
it, and then if it still comes out bad, you're like, okay, maybe you should think about a different profession. And I say this with the utmost love and respect, and I hope
Right.
that if that happened, that someone would say that to me and be like, hey, you just don't have it, kid. Go back to college.
100%.
You should teach.
But at the same time, I would think that a horror movie, even if it was bad, would be fun to make because it's like
totally.
so over the top, you know? Like, I mean, like I said, I'm from Oregon. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is like a classic, whatever, horror film, but also just like masterpiece. And I have a friend now that works in the hospital for the criminally insane in Salem where the movie was shot. And like, it is perfect. Like, that's a perfect horror, like not even a horror film, but like it's a scary. It was like,
it's
you know, The Shining was scary as another, like Jack Nicholson in Oregon had a moment, you know.
he had his little moment.
I
real
liked
quick.
it.
He had his little moment. So I guess here's where I start asking why. Why this movie? Why Jaws?
Yeah, Jaws is a classic. Jaws is like the original Hollywood summer blockbuster for one, and so I think the fact that I mean, you just brought so many thoughts to my mind that I had this, like, I just, like, completely disconnected.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about the Hollywood blockbuster being Jaws in the 70s when it came out was, one, that there hadn't been that big, like, summer movie event, and it made so much money. And then it's only been sort of recently that this sort of, like, summer of horror thing in the movie theaters has come back.
Yeah.
Because that's so classically, at least in the U.S., a fall thing closer to Halloween, and now there's all these horror movies that come out in the summer to try to get people to go to the movies, and Jaws was like the originator of that.
Yeah.
But it was sort of a one and done thing because then it became, I think, film and studios, like, they took the action part of Jaws and said, okay, action is going to be like the summer blockbuster thing and not horror. But the movie's really a horror film. Like,
totally. It's
really scary.
I hadn't seen it in years. And I watched it and I was like, I don't remember it. You're like, Jaws. I'm like, oh, Jaws isn't scary. I'm like, nope, I get why people were terrified.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize I forgot how gory it was. I'm like, maybe I blacked it out as a kid when I watched this. Maybe it was like, but I was like, this is like pretty like grotesque, violent.
Yeah, it's violent, but I also think that, like, it was Steven Spielberg's second major film.
Yeah, it was 27.
And I think that the magic of Spielberg and what made him in that movie is that he took a horror like a story, a really scary movie, and it was scary. I mean, I watched it last week.
Yeah.
Again for like the 100th time, and I was like, oh, this is a scary movie, because when you sent me the list, I was like, oh, Jaws is considered a horror film? Like, I consider it an action movie, like just a great movie. I don't even like categorize it in my brain. And then I watched it, and I was like, I watched it through the lens of horror because I knew I was coming on to do this. And I was like, oh, it is really scary. Yeah. And I was more scared because I was thinking of it as a horror movie, when the reality of it is I've never been scared watching that movie ever. Yeah. And I've always been like a water baby. Like I grew up, I was always in the pool as a kid. I've always gone in the ocean. I've never been afraid of sharks. Like my brother's favorite animal growing up was a shark. And so we always had like the shark board games. Like there was the stigma that Jaws created around sharks. Yeah. Which Jaws is responsible for one fear of sharks in people. Totally. That didn't really exist outside of sailors being afraid of sharks and fishermen before that movie was made. But then also all of that led to the conservation effort of sharks. It's a crazy timeline what that movie has done, and also what it did for Spielberg's career. Yeah. It just launched that shit. And he was 27 when he made that? Yeah, I think, 27, 28. I'm 27. And it took 3 times as long to make. Did you know it was like a 55-day shoot that turned into like 155? It was 65, 159 specifically. And everyone was miserable. Yeah, because of the fucking shark, too. The shark didn't work. Bruce. Do you know why his name is Bruce? I forget. Tell me. Because that was Steven Spielberg's lawyer's name. Which is so funny. And you know, there's a Bruce at the Academy Museum. He hangs in the Bruce is the best. But the other thing that I think we can talk about the horror element of it if you want, but I also want to talk about like there were so many things that happened in that movie by accident that made like Spielberg continued to make those like happy accidents more intentional as his career went on, and it's like now what he's known for. Yeah. So Bruce the shark worked so poorly, which is why the shoot went so long. Yeah. That they couldn't show the shark on scene, so like in the scenes as much. Yeah. So whereas now, if you've never seen Jaws and you don't know anything about Spielberg, when you see a Spielberg movie, especially in action, you know, you watch Jurassic Park, there's all these things that like allude to the monster where you don't see it, but you hear it. You see a footprint. You like see a different moment where you're like, oh, there's a monster out there, but we haven't seen it yet. And that type of reveal like had never really been done in film, and they had to do it in Jaws because their machinery wasn't working. But now that's like a staple Spielberg move. Like when he makes a movie, you're like, oh, there's his little, like, there's his touch. And it's very specific, and it has a very, like, there's a certain kind of like texture to it that I think is, to me, it's like mind blowing in terms of cinema. The more you like think about it, the more you're like, oh yeah, that isn't like, I guess you don't see the T-Rex till like a good chunk of the way in, and you're watching. He said that they focus more on reaction shots of characters and have it be more character driven rather than Bruce being the star. Which originally it was supposed to be more Bruce, but honestly it worked in their favor. You know, at the time you're probably like, fuck, this movie's gonna suck. Like this movie's gonna be like complete ass because we don't have this shark that we spent how much money on, how much time on getting it to work, and now it's just not. When it was the first movie that had been shot in open water ocean. Yeah. Which is, now you think about how many things are like shot on the water, and then they made Waterworld and all this stuff. They had never shot anything on the ocean. Yeah. And if you look at it today, you're like, was that the Universal like thing that they flood, like the lake? Because it looks fake, but it's just that Martha's Vineyard's like so overcast and gross, and like the weather there is so hit or miss. You're just like, why is the sky blue now? And now it looks like a cement wall or whatever. And that's just how it is. And even with like the, I guess, you know, when you watch or when you're in film school, they show you like, you know, the classic shots and that zoom shot. The Hitchcock move. Is just phenomenal. It is phenomenal. Every time I watch it, I'm like, it's coming. Here it is. Here it is. Yep. Here it is. But I also didn't realize how brutal the kill was with that scene with Alex, the little boy. I didn't realize, like, it was apparently supposed to be a lot more violent. But even that, I was like, damn, Alex got the short end of the stick with that. Everyone else got out. And they're like, we're just going to keep you. Yeah. It's kind of crazy that they killed a kid. Yeah. like, I would imagine that if that happened in today's world and it had been the first of its happening, like they'd never killed a kid on screen before, whatever, there would be a lot more like uproar than there was for that, because I think there was more, people were more upset that they had sort of killed the dog too, because they don't show the dog getting killed. But I don't know, the kid, that's tough. That was a very dark part of the story.
Yeah.
That nobody talks about. Like, it's not criticized. You know, there's probably a lot of things you could cancel Jaws for. Like, people who like to do that. There's so many things you could do, you could get upset about, but nobody. It's been so considered like a cinematic masterpiece for so long that nobody even touches it.
I mean, don't touch. And you know what? It's also like, sure, you've watched tons of horror movies where they kill adults, but it seems like when it comes to some movies, it's like until you kill the innocent, then you're like, oh, now it's like actually evil. Yeah. Like now it's like, okay, we need to get this shark. You're like, okay, this shark's killing beautiful big-breasted women. You're like, oh,
the shark likes naked women. And only,
no, you're like, okay, sure.
But then how times have changed, because now we just kill kids off in the Hunger Games like it's no big deal.
Oh, totally. Like, there's a the new Final Destination movie. There's a kid who has an amazing death because he's a little shit. Like the first 10 minutes. And
so you want him to die?
Oh, people cheered. We were so happy. We were so glad he died. He was a little shit. He's the one who started the whole chain reaction.
See, this is where it loses me. I don't think I could root for a kid to die, even in a movie. Really?
You do.
I've never seen a Final Destination movie, so I'll have to get into it.
It's just, even if you watch like the opening 10 minutes, it's of the newest movie, it is brilliant. But you see this kid and you're like, oh, fuck that kid. That kid's a bully. That kid died. Like, I hope that kid. He does. Wow. He gets it.
I wonder if YouTube will flag you for this. Like, I love it when they kill kids.
I love when they kill kids.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it in.
That's so funny.
I'm gonna clip that part specifically.
I have a question, a Jaws question for you.
Hello.
So, you've seen a lot more horror movies than I have, and obviously, like, Jaws is more than horror as deemed by everybody.
Yeah.
But what do you think is the thing that made the movie? Like, could be the shark, could be the director, like, it could be anything. Like, what do you think is the defining moment for you where you were like, this is a good movie?
Honestly, the entire ensemble of like actors and the shark too, like, it's just everything together. It just worked. And I know that it didn't work behind the scenes, but it did work on camera. And also tying that back together with the score and the theme. It's just, there's something so iconic about everything, and it's just so, like, I can't quite put it into words, but it honestly, it works. And there's some horror movies where it's like, they have a couple actors are off. It's like everybody is good in their place. They all bring it, and, you know, some more than others because of the shark, you know, they bring it all the time. But, like, everything is just strategic, and it just was pulled off so well.
Right.
Versus some horror movies, again, they just suck ass.
Yeah. I think when you watch, because for me, I think when I think about it, I mean, obviously the score was incredible.
Oh my God.
And that, like, catapulted John Williams' career into, like, a whole nother sphere of reality. I'm going to see John Williams at the Hollywood Bowl in August, by the way. I don't know if he still performs with them, but it's like all his music.
Oh my God, no.
And I've never seen it before, and it'll be great. So have me back on.
I will. I also want to see that they have Jurassic Park live.
Oh,
where they're going to do the score.
Yeah,
and I was like,
I wanted to go to that too. Yeah, that would be fun.
Amazing.
But the thing to me, I think that makes the movie more than anything is the three main characters. Yeah. And if Brody and Quint and Hooper hadn't all been cast the exact way that they were,
it would not have worked.
Because I even remember watching that movie as a kid and being like, these these people are these characters. They're not anybody else.
Yeah.
Any other time of the day.
Yeah.
Any other day of the week. Any other week of the year.
This is like they are just playing themselves.
Like I met Richard Dreyfuss when he did Mr. Holland's Opus because that was filmed in Oregon, and I don't know if we went to the premiere. I don't know what happened, but I met him, and so I have this picture of him, and he has a Band-Aid on his forehead, and I'm like 8 years old, and my hair is a mess. Like I look like a total 8-year-old kid, and I met him, and I was like, no, this is Hooper. Like this isn't like whoever Mr. Holland's Open, like whatever. This is the guy from Jaws. Like this isn't anything else, and it's too bad that some of those guys aren't alive anymore because there would be so much to discuss now. Like, and they probably would have made so many more great movies. Like I don't know, the guy that played Quint died like a couple years after the movie came out, and like he was
amazing.
He's next level. That guy,
insane. He modeled that character out off of I'm totally blanking what his name is. But there's a like fisherman in the movie, and he modeled him actually after him, and it's just like that's so cool.
Oh, it's perfect.
You're like, I love that he's actually in the movie, but he like made it his own a little bit, and
exaggerated it for sure.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
but I think you've read the same IMDb. Fun facts as I did.
Oh, maybe. I read some USA Today ones.
A little bit of both. But no, I really liked the fact that the actor who played Brody, and I'm totally blanking on his name, he overheard Steven Spielberg talking about Jaws at a party and like pitching it to somebody, and he's like, "Hey, put me in your movie. I want to play that character."
Yeah.
And Steven was like, "I'm a fan of you. Let's go."
Yeah, and he didn't even have any Instagram followers yet, and Spielberg was like, "Hey, I'll put you in."
How great! Lucky,
isn't that cool?
That's so cool for him. Oh my god, that's so amazing.
He just went up and asked.
Yeah, that's wow. That's
Can you imagine
going up to someone and asking for what you want and then getting it?
That'd be like if you walked up to Seth Rogen today and you're like, "Hey, can I be in the studio?" And they're like, "Yeah, I would love to have you in the show."
And then you're just in it.
You're like in
and
it.
Like
cool. I mean, I'm sure it still happens for some people somewhere.
When you have status and stuff, but we just not
you
yet.
Have status. You have a whole podcast.
Yeah. It's getting me I mean, places.
You could have status if the people watching the podcast shared, subscribed, told people about it. See?
Do it.
You like that plug?
That was great.
I mean,
plug.
come on.
That was great. It's almost like you had a podcast yourself.
I have a podcast. Was it really a podcast or was it?
It was. I don't know what the episode we did was it was you know what, we did have microphones and we were speaking into them.
Yeah, we were.
And
it was fun.
It was so silly.
It was a good time. People tell me I should bring a podcast back.
Yeah,
I'd rather just come be on your podcast.
You can come be on my podcast anytime. You're always welcome. First of all, you asked me a question, and that's crazy.
On your podcast?
No, not many people ask me questions.
Really?
I usually have to just answer them.
No,
I
was thinking of so many questions for you on the way here. I was like, I wonder what Katie thinks about this part of the movie and how this was made. Because I'm such a Spielberg junkie.
I love Spielberg too.
And the day he dies, sorry to get dark, but the day he dies is going to be so sad.
Yeah.
Because then there's I don't know. I think we're in this period now where we have to think about the world existing without certain generations of things. Despite his faults, young people don't really know who Michael Jackson is anymore. They only know the bad things. And there was a period of time where we all got to enjoy.
I love Michael.
Same with Kanye. We all got to enjoy Kanye. We all got to enjoy. Nobody enjoyed Harvey Weinstein, but there were just things I liked
the movies he made.
Yeah, but there were just things that people aren't going to know about, and one day Spielberg is going to be one of those people, and that's going to be hard for me. I need him to be making movies right now. Steve, if you're out there.
Steve, because I know he's a big fan of the pod.
Yeah,
he's actually.
Can you?
He's actually coming on next time.
Yeah.
That would be wild getting Steven Spielberg on.
It's possible. I actually reached out to his people to try to get them to come to a comedy show once. I'm not going to say what show, but I was like, hey, we're trying to drum up some excitement for this. If he's in town, he wants to come out to a show, I'd love to have him. And they were like, yeah, he's unavailable. I was like, it's worth a shot.
It's just open micers.
Here's the thing: if you have IMDb Pro, you can email anybody.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's how I get a lot of people on.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "How do you get people on?" I'm like, I cold email.
Yeah.
Or I just DM.
Yep.
I'm really good at getting like D-list celebrities.
Yeah. Because they want to be on something.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, anything that shows up in a YouTube search for them, like, they're happy about it.
Yeah.
Spielberg, you need to be in more YouTube searches, dude.
He's not on Instagram. And that's also like, well, what am I supposed to tag him in? I can't collaborate on a post?
No.
On a clip?
I mean, you could tell him, like, hey, one of the conditions of being on the pod is you have to get. I mean, that's what happened, I think, when Jennifer Aniston was on the morning show. That was when she launched her Instagram. Because they were like, I think that was one of the conditions of being on the show of, like, you're going to promote this.
He used to be like, I'm not coming on. I'll be like, fair. You know what?
No, Steve,
Fair
you're
enough.
coming.
Steve.
You're coming. We're going to talk about Alien.
Specifically
I'll
Alien.
be here. I'm coming back just for that episode.
You're just gonna be in the corner like I have a small mic. Like I'm here. Hello, I'm here.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Is there any other parts of the movie that you were like, this is insane? Because the head in the water. I'm looking at my notes also, and I'm like,
the head in the water. You mean when he's diving, when he's scuba diving?
Yeah.
And the head just falls out of the boat.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I remember every kill, but I didn't remember that part, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Hey.
That one, the last time I watched it, scared me.
Yeah.
And I didn't not remember it. It gives off that scene. I know it was before this movie, but it gives off a little bit of a Titanic vibe, right?
Yeah.
Even though Jaws was before Titanic. That's how it feels. And so I think that's probably why you don't remember it, because in terms of like the timeline of the movie, it's a little gratuitous.
Yeah.
But you know he put it, I mean, I know we both read like the same fun fact. He put it in because he felt like there needed to be another jump scare.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because it doesn't really forward the movie, like if you're going to get technical and specific. Yeah, well, it is a horrifying moment.
Oh, yeah.
Because bloated bodies in the water are not.
That's not.
It's never fun.
What do you mean? That's the best thing ever.
It's never. I mean, if I was swimming in the water, because it happens, like bodies wash up on the beaches in LA. And if that happened to me, I would never get over that. Ever. That would be it.
You were also talking about the fact that you can still swim in water and stuff. I first of all can't swim, but
you can't swim?
I can't swim.
Have you tried?
Have
you ever almost drowned?
I'm not good at it. Okay. Like if you threw me in, I could like get to the side, but in the ocean, I'm gonna sink. I'm gonna sink and die.
Okay. Did you not swim as a kid growing up?
No, we didn't have a pool. Like,
but aren't there like lakes where you're from?
Yeah, we don't. My family, we're not a buoyant people.
Okay.
We also don't. We are
very dense group.
We're built for running.
Interesting.
We're aerodynamic.
Okay.
So we sink.
Got it.
But also we just don't, like, none of my family would really swim. Like, we didn't have a pool. Everyone else, all my neighbors, they went swimming. They all were on swim team. I never did that.
And you never took like swimming lessons for safety or
anything? I did, but in like the 3rd grade. But I was with like I was with babies, and I got so embarrassed that I quit because I was like, Mom, isn't there a class with people my own age?
You know what I did? My mom signed me up for swim lessons, and I was like, you know what? I could do this myself. And I quit the swim lessons because I was like, I don't need anybody telling me what to do. That was me. I was like, I'm going to do this by myself.
Like, I'm a powerful woman, independent.
No,
I do it on my own.
The strong, independent woman of me as a child was so troublesome. Like, I used to say crazy things to people, but yeah, I was like, I don't need... Like, I've always felt like swimming was like a thing we should all inherently know how to do, like dogs.
Oh, no,
like,
we should. We should know.
But people don't.
Yeah, no.
I would love to teach you how to swim.
I'd be honored. Oh my God, I'd be honored. But no,
it's scary to teach adults how to swim though, because they panic a lot more than kids.
Yeah.
Like kids, if you're yelling at a kid in the pool, you're like, kick. They will. If you do it to an adult, they don't do it.
A panic attack.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. So when I did swim a lot more as a kid, there was this one pool that had this like drop off, and the lights were super eerie. And I remember going underwater and being like, now I understand. I'm like 10. I'm like, I get why my parents were afraid of the water growing up because of Jaws, because like that's where the shark is. And I'm like, I know it's just a pool, but I'm like, I can get why people are like, oh, there's sharks in pools. Like, I'm terrified. People literally were afraid of, like, getting in. My dad was like, I was afraid of getting in the bath. I was afraid of getting in, like...
After seeing Jaws?
Some people, after seeing Jaws. It's crazy. And you're like, there's not a shark in the pool unless there was, like, a hurricane and it's near the water. And it, like, came in... But even then, probably not.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, unless it's like aquamarine, and that movie's specific. It's a specific pool. A mermaid.
Got it.
Gets
I haven't seen it.
Pulled from the ocean into a pool. But it would be like
Interesting.
it was a shark instead.
I've never been afraid of sharks.
Yeah,
Ever.
I love Shark Week. Shark Week is my favorite.
I love Shark Week. I almost wore. I have a Shark Week like Aviator Nation
That's
hoodie
amazing.
that I got on sale, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. It's on sale. Like, I'll get this."
Yeah.
I was gonna wear it today, and then I was like, I don't know. It's very blue,
That's okay.
and I was like, I don't know what you're saying.
You're like, I don't know what you
said
said.
it's
I'm just
like-
gonna like match.
I don't need to be underwater.
No, I was like, I'm gonna give 4th of July Sailor slightly.
I love it. It's
That's what
great.
we're kind of giving.
I've never been. I don't know. I've never been. I've been diving with sharks.
That's my dream. I want to learn how to
Oh,
swim.
hang on a second. hang on. You gotta get comfortable in the
That's
pool.
what I'm saying. I want to learn how to swim because of that. You know?
You gotta take lessons then.
Okay, yeah.
Because scuba diving's like a whole nother.
wait, no, I don't want to scuba dive. I want to cage dive.
Yeah, but you have to be able to have you have to be able to have like a scuba mask on and stuff.
Fuck!
Haven't you seen Jaws? He has scuba gear on. He goes down in the cage. He doesn't have a
Forgot you
snorkel
didn't.
on.
Shit.
You're gonna have to.
I'm gonna have to fight.
But here's the thing that you'll like
treading
about.
water is hard though, especially when you.
No. You don't have to tread. If you're scuba diving, you don't have to tread
No,
water.
but to take,
you literally
to take
sink.
the lessons, you have to. I'm gonna sink.
Yeah, but you can, it's good to sink when you're scuba diving.
Yeah. Okay, so got it. Okay, I'm
But
a good sinker then.
the swimming, oh my God, you have a journey ahead of you.
That's okay. It's a 12-step
Yeah.
process, and we're on step 1, which is acknowledging what you need to do.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I would go cage diving with you because I also want to do that. I had a friend that did it in South Africa. Oh my God. But after I'm not gonna be the person that watches you drown. That's the thing. Is like it won't be the shark that gets you. It'll be the water.
It'll be the water. It'll be the water. No, because sharks are just like friendly little guys, and they just want to hang out. And you know what? Sometimes they get a little hungry, and they get a little curious. Which is like, I understand that. You know, I had a pet rabbit as well, and he would do like a drive-by where he would just kind of like, you know, and that's what sharks do. And I'm like, but when I do it, it's like problematic, you know, and I'm not allowed places anymore. I'm banned.
Yeah. Where you banned from? Cheesecake Factory?
Yeah.
You did a drive-by.
I did a quick drive-by. I'm like, I'm
Took a
sorry.
bite of
I got too
somebody's
excited.
Alfredo.
I got too excited.
Oh my
I got
God.
too curious. It's okay. This is a super important
Okay.
question for you.
Yes.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Oh, okay.
Again, this is all hypothetical.
Okay. No, I want it to be real.
Okay, this is 100% real.
This is where the murder comes in.
a great white,
Okay.
Quint's half corpse.
Which half?
That's a great question. You can answer that
Like,
yourself.
is he cut like this way?
No, he's this. It's
Oh,
it's like that.
okay.
So because it's the shark, so it'd probably just be
Right,
the top
right.
half, or the severed head.
Oh my God.
I know it's tough
Um,
because they're like, one is bestiality.
I was more concerned with the necrophilia element of it.
Oh, that too.
Than
Yeah,
the
I guess that
bestiality, I
too.
think.
That's.
I mean,
fair.
I guess-
either way. Continue.
Is the upper half of Quint's body still alive?
Yes, at this moment, yes.
Yeah, okay.
It just happened.
So I think that would be the fuck.
Okay.
It's so... But I don't know in what capacity. He's got no wiener.
You could sit on him.
We do some oral.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Sick.
I'll sit on Quint's half-bodied face. Yikes. Marry Bruce the shark. I think it'd be nice.
Aw,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah, just ride on the dorsal fin a little bit and have a good time. You know, I mean, the good thing about marriage is you don't have to have sex. I'm not fucking the shark. That's for sure.
It's a platonic marriage.
Yeah, it's a marriage of convenience
Yeah.
for sure. And then I would kill the body that's already dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. I think that's the correct answer.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
It's the correct answer in a very incorrect world.
Correct. Yes, correct. 100%.
Can I say this though?
I'll allow it.
I want to fuck Brody. That's who you. That's
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
the
yeah.
move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I thought about that, but that didn't seem like it was any fun.
It would. It
Well,
would
I
be
mean, it would
fun
be fun
if it
because
was
he's
real.
he's
yeah,
alive
Yeah,
and,
it has
you
a
know.
great tan. God,
Yeah.
such a good tan. Like if he was still alive, he could have played Ken's dad in Barbie. You know, like if Ken had a dad, it would be Brody.
You're in love with him.
He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool guy. I like that he's cranky.
You like a cranky guy.
I like a cranky guy who's cranky because of safety. You know, where they're so concerned with safety that they're just cranky at all times.
Yeah.
Like, it's not safe. And you're like, why are you so mad? You're like, because you're being unsafe. And you're like, oh, it's hot. I don't know. You know?
I don't, but I love
Yeah, it's
that.
like a firefighter thing. You know, like
Okay.
cops.
I was told
Cops don't care about safety as much
No.
as firefighters.
I was told
firefighters,
to avoid firefighters.
in terms of dating,
Yeah.
why?
I heard they're like red flags.
Probably depends on where you live. Maybe in LA could
Yeah.
be. My grandpa was a firefighter.
Okay. Well, you got a good one.
Yeah, he was a good one.
Yeah.
But I mean,
You know what? How old is he?
still cheeky. How old is he? He's dead.
Okay.
Yeah. He's the
Just
age of
missed
dead.
him.
Yeah, he was.
Shoot.
How old? He was like 83 when he
Okay.
died. But he's a good guy.
Okay.
Yeah. It's real safety oriented.
Little safety.
And they have the best stories.
They do.
Yeah, because they have stories of people like chopping off their own balls and stuff like that. Like way better stories than cops.
Yeah. Because when I'm around the dinner table at Thanksgiving, cutting into that turkey, saying what we're thankful for, I want Grandpa to just bring up a story about someone cutting off balls.
Look, here's the thing. I don't go to family holidays if I don't get that.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
I don't
I
want it.
pre-screen the stories before I go. I'm like, hey, I'm about to buy my ticket. You guys have anything good this year, or I'm not coming?
Honestly, that's
I can't be the only good person with good stories.
we are the entertainment of the family, aren't we?
It sucks.
That's why I have scoliosis. I'm carrying all this
Yeah.
funniness on my
But you know
back.
what the best thing about being a comic in your family, at least in my family, is that it allows the people who are in your family, whether by blood or by marriage, when somebody says something psychotic or like crazy or whatever, everyone looks at you. And so the people that get it, like that becomes your eye contact, like across the table, and you're like, oh, fuck, this is the best. Like,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It makes family holidays so much better.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
so much better.
The amount of like quick whips I say,
Mm-hmm.
I almost kind of like do side eye to like somebody, and they'll be like, I'm like, yeah, you got it, or they'll be like, Jesus, kid, and I'm like, yeah, well,
Oh yeah. Like if somebody's cooking is bad at one of the gatherings, I always have a family member. I'm not gonna out who it is. But I always have a family member who's like, this sucks. I'm like, yeah.
It's terrible.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me.
You're like, this is great. My family and I think we've gotten like closer like the past like 5 years since I started doing comedy, and I think our humor has all ramped up together, and
That's fun.
we are hilarious
That's the
together.
best.
And it is brutal. It is you're keeling over, crying, laughing. It is inappropriate. It's great.
I love it.
Oh, it's magical.
I could ask so many questions, but I don't want to get off topic.
I don't. Yeah, it's okay. We're already off topic. It's fine. Is there any final thoughts on the movie that we haven't talked about? I know I'm gonna pick up my notes as I do this because there's so many. You can talk. I liked when Michael was in shock at the hospital, and the mom goes, "Can I bring you anything?" And and she's like, "Cars, ice cream," and he's like, "Coffee. I need coffee."
Oh,
I just thought that was silly.
Yeah.
That made me giggle.
But I think that kid, he's a man now, but that kid, he did like funny, spontaneous things on set, like that they would end up capturing. So I feel like he probably came up with that on his
totally.
own.
He's like, "Coffee. I need coffee."
I've always wondered where Spielberg, how he casts children, because
He does
that's
a great
such a
job.
touchy thing to do to begin with, where it's like their time on set is limited, and like, you know, how do you find a kid with Riz? You know,
Yeah.
if it's not the Rizzler, how do you find him?
Literally.
You know? But he's always done such a good job with that, and it would be, I'm sure somewhere like he talks about like the method for casting kids, but that'd be really interesting. So if you have him on the pod,
Yeah,
that's question number one.
I'll ask him question number one.
Yeah. So how do you cast kids? You touch them, or what do you? What do you do?
How do you know that they're good?
You do a little tickling.
What do you do? Oh, I absolutely fucking. I had a
That'd be
teacher.
hilarious.
I had a teacher growing up. Okay, let me just say this, and it's not like that. Okay, no, because she was a family friend, and she was my brother's teacher as well, because he's 12 years older, and so she was my teacher. And as a kid, when I was little, she would we would joke around, and she would tickle me. Hilarious. It was like not anything weird. Yeah. Then I got into high school, and she would always come in. She was like people were. She's like she still thought she was in high school. She would come into my classrooms that I like to talk to the teacher, and then she would see me, and she would come and tickle me in front of everybody.
In high school?
In high school, in class. And I was like, hey, it's funny. Because as a kid, she would like scare me with tickling. And I was like, hey, this is now weird. And
she was touching kids.
I was like, you don't get to do this anymore. It was never like that.
With you.
With me. I don't know. No, she's a good egg. But like I was like bestie.
You can't even hug kids at school anymore. Like if you're a teacher. Like if a kid's crying, you cannot comfort them with a hug. It's like illegal.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Would you just give a firm pat on the shoulder?
Yeah, you just have to be like, it's okay, Johnny. Everything will be fine.
You don't need to cry anymore. Yeah. Here, hug this stuffed animal real quick.
Which is kind of sad too, because people are creepy, man.
Yeah, that wasn't. Anyways, tickling. That was where that was. That was where that side. Smile, you son of a bitch. That line.
When did he say that? What part?
When he's getting ready to shoot.
Right before he kills him?
Yeah, and he goes, smile, you son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's not a super memorable line to me. Is that a memorable line to you?
That and we're going to need a bigger boat, which was improvised.
Oh.
Because that was apparently an inside joke that they kept. Because they kept needing bigger boats.
My favorite, not line, but lines of the movie are when they sing, Show Me the Way to Go Home. Mm-hmm. I used to sing that as a kid all the time. And to me, that was like such a silly, lighthearted moment. As a kid, where I was like, "Oh, these guys are fun. They're out here having a good time." Like, Spielberg's very good at moments of levity in still what's considered like dramatic movies, and there's a lot of people who are not good at that. Yeah, he's good at every. I mean, I could just go on.
No, I wrote a paper on him in middle school.
Have you watched his documentary on HBO? It's 3 hours. Oh my God, do you have HBO?
No.
It's 3 hours. It's so good. So they never talk about Hook. I don't know why. They talk about Jaws. They talk about
I forgot he did
Jurassic Park.
Hook is one of my all-time favorite movies.
They never bring up Hook.
What the fuck?
Yeah, Hook is one of my favorite movies. I could do a whole podcast on Hook and Rufio. Yeah. Rufio. Yeah, they like never talk about it. And I wonder if he if they couldn't get the rights to talk about it or something, like some kind of licensing to show clips or something.
You know what? Probably Robin Williams, because the family's pretty strict about that stuff.
Yeah, but it's a Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
Or if Spielberg doesn't like that movie or something. Or
that would be insane if
wouldn't that be crazy?
I would.
That movie is magical.
That movie's magical. I can tell you. We'll have to talk about Hook after this. We have so much more to talk about. So... out of 10, what would you give Jaws?
Oh, well, I feel like it's too easy to give it a 10 out of 10.
You can,
I could give it a 10 out of 10.
Whatever you want.
The only critique I have of the film, which this is where I get really technical with things because it bothers me, and I think like I am not on the spectrum at all, but the little piece of my brain that probably is, it's like this tiny little piece up here, drives me nuts. Like when people sing out of key. Like, you know how they say with like autistic people, like when somebody's singing out of key, somebody who's like very sensitive to that, like has to say it out loud. We're like, why are you singing out of key?
Yeah.
So there's in the movie when the girl dies in the beginning and they're like dragging her across the water right after the shark gets her and she's screaming, it's dubbed. Like if you look, she's not moving her mouth. Like her mouth is closed, but you hear her screaming. And there's a couple parts in the movie where that happens, and we were talking about it, the people I was watching the movie with, and I was like, that really bothers me. And the person I was watching the movie with brought up a good point where he's like, yeah, but they're filming this movie out in the ocean. It's the first movie that's ever been filmed out in the ocean.
Yeah.
Not everything's going to go right. And you knew that there were problems with the movie, so how are you going to be critical over that? I was like, that's fair.
Yeah, you're like,
I'll let it go. I wouldn't let it go in today's world.
Oh, totally.
Like, even when I watch Instagram and, like, videos don't line up with what people are saying or whatever.
Oh,
like,
God.
Which is frustrating when it happens to your video, too, and you can't fix it. But there's things where I'm like, you could have done this better. Yeah. But also at that time, like the footage was limited. They probably had nothing they could do. But if you go back and watch it, you're like, this isn't.
I don't think I've ever put that together.
When you just go back and watch the beginning.
I will. Yeah. Oh my God, that's so funny.
That's my only critique.
Okay,
otherwise,
so out of 10
really perfect. 9.99.
Because of that reason.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Am I a bitch for?
No. Oh
yeah,
God,
maybe a little bit.
No, you're
a little bit.
You're fine. Look.
Still come on the pod, Spielberg. It's 9.99.
Wherever I rate very hard.
Yeah.
That's just.
What do you rate it?
I give it an 8.
Why?
Because it's not my favorite movie, but I understand. And anything over a 5, I go IMDb rating. Anything over a 5 for a horror movie is very good. As I will watch it again. 8 is solid. It's not my favorite movie. It's not something I gravitate towards. But I think it's important and very good. But it's
interesting. You base it a lot off of your opinion.
Yeah, which I think that's what.
I don't.
Okay, that's okay.
I mean, I love the movie.
It's also when you watch a movie, whatever your initial rating is, that's correct. The more you think about it, the more you're like, oh, but then the technical and it's like, no, what do you give it right now out of 10? Go.
Yeah, but that's interesting because I think of it as like the cultural relevance of it, like the
oh no, if we're talking
impact
about,
it had on culture and society, and like
talking about that, it's a billion because it's like that's like I think.
But
that's
funny that you just rated off of your own opinion. I don't think I do that because I mean comedians like everything feels so subjective all the time. So sometimes I try to be objective in what I. Not when I watch other comics. That's subjective. But yeah, I don't know. I'm like, it's such a, I don't know. It's such an important way of filmmaking that's being lost. So to me, I'm just like, it's like a billion out of whatever.
Yeah. But,
but the dub part bugs me.
The dub part, the part.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I'm gonna start watching movies with your subjectivity in mind. When I watch horror movies, I'm gonna think about it.
Or just any movie, like it's like whatever you think
horror
it
movies,
is.
I think it's interesting.
Yeah, but So
you must value your opinion very much.
I have to. I have a podcast about it. People,
it's so funny. Oh, I need to
just
stop trying to be so maybe politically correct. Because I think that's what I'm trying to be
in general
like,
right now.
Yeah, just yeah.
It's I tried to I've tried to be like, oh, like you're doing a great, I tried to be like, oh, let me oh, what if Steven sees this? Oh, what if he? I'm like, you know what? It's hard to make a movie, and honestly, what an honor that people are still talking about your movie, that people are celebrating that movie. Was it 45th anniversary?
50th is like next week or something.
I think it's this week officially, but this episode will come out Monday. So.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Get the tags in there.
Get the tags in there. But it's just what an honor to have someone, still be talking about your movie. And even to critique it, I think it's better to have someone talk about your movie versus, you don't, it's forgotten about. So, any comment's a good comment, on an Instagram reel.
Yeah, totally.
It's going to help boost the algorithm.
It's also crazy because I feel like if everything that happened with that movie happened today, they would just can it and not have it come out. Totally. And for that movie to come out against all odds and then be as successful as it was it's
impressive. Because I
would love to see that again.
Yeah.
I don't
know what it would be.
It wasn't even a cult classic. It was a mainstream, masterpiece, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I mean, Barbie, but they knew Barbie was going to do well.
Yeah.
They knew it was going to do. So it's I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It would be cool. It would be cool if the old way of filmmaking came back in some capacity.
One day.
That's the thing.
When it comes back to Hollywood.
Yeah. That's the thing. I am. Every time I watch a Spielberg movie, an older one, even Bridge of Spies, I'm like, we just need.
Yeah, the old.
We need it.
We need the old stuff.
Yeah,
it's better.
Thoughtful filmmaking.
Exactly. So, would you say that you were Afraidy or not Afraidy of Jaws?
Okay, so I've seen the movie a lot.
Yeah,
I've watched it probably once a year for almost my whole life. I would say that the most recent time I watched it, a little Afraidy.
Okay.
But every other time, not Afraidy.
Yeah.
More like, hey, I'm going to have a oceanic experience. That's how
I
watched Blue Crush. I'm have an oceanic experience.
Period.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm interested to having just watched it, the shark lady, the shark conservationists that are really big on Instagram. They have a documentary coming out.
Cool.
And I think there'll be some nods to Jaws in that too.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to watch that too because I'm not Afraidy of the real thing, but I'm a little Afraidy of the movie now.
Yeah. Well, I'm honored that I could have made you a little Afraidy
about
this.
Afraidy.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
A little Afraidy. Well, this is the part of the show where you plug yourself and you tell us where we can all find you.
Okay, do I do it into the camera or do I tell you?
You can tell them.
You know where to find me.
I know. I know.
You know
where
where I
I
live.
know where you
Oh,
live.
no.
I've been to your house.
Don't dox me. I live by the Waymos where they're hiding the Waymos right now. Yeah, you can find me at Maria Bruggere on all social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X.
That was a good face.
Threads. Yeah, was it a good? I can do that sometimes. Yeah, you can find me everywhere. I run a monthly comedy show in LA at the Hollywood Improv and the Fanatic Salon Theater called Comedy and Chill. That's really fun. So if you're in LA, come check that out.
Pretty dope.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll be on a bombshell on Love Island. Who knows?
Oh, hell yeah, you will,
Yeah, I'm
babes.
flying to
Hell
Fiji
yeah.
tonight, guys. Are you
Yeah.
watching that? Holy fuck!
No,
That's
I know you are.
That's a horror.
I don't.
That's
I
a
can't. I've tried to
horror
watch it and it
story.
makes me want to die.
It's awesome.
I can't. I hate reality. It just
No,
hurts me. It hurts my soul.
It's so good.
So this is the part of the show where
Yes.
I actually wait. I gotta stop. Nope. Yeah. No. You know. I'm just gonna do it. I don't care. This is the part of the show where we give bad advice
Yes.
regarding the movie, good or bad advice.
Bad advice being like to the filmmakers or to people
just
who would
people
watch it?
about them, like from the movie that you got from the movie. Like, oh, you should never go in the water.
Oh.
You shouldn't.
I think you should pet sharks every chance you get.
Pet sharks.
Yeah.
Guys, pet sharks.
Pet them, and do it against the grain. You know, like you pet a dog's hair, like you pet it backwards. I would pet them like that. That's a really good. Sharks have no teeth. They're really safe.
You should, especially in their mouth. They have.
Yeah.
They're really.
They
nice.
don't have 7 rows of teeth in their mouth at all.
Nah, they're fine.
They digest their food very well.
Yeah, you're okay, nerd. Okay, sure, big
I
nerd.
had a board game as a kid because my brother, I told you, it was like this crazy like facts about sharks and
Nerd alert.
Yeah.
Okay. Just kidding. You're on a podcast, so that's literally about horror movies. I'm
not wearing a bucket hat.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But on that note, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that jazz. Katie Hettenbach on all social media platforms. And we will see you next time.
I won't.
She won't be here. Someone else will be here. But on that note, Maria, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Katie Afraidy.
And stay spooky.
Jaws. See it before you go swimming.